8 o'clock in the morning, I'll have fish and a rice cake.
Okay, welcome back to Fish and a Rice Cake. And we have another bonus episode here today. And as you can see, I've upgraded Jake again to another one of my clients. We're literally just taking over at the moment. So we had Evan a few weeks ago. Now we've got Seb, but I'm just going to call him the chef because I call him the chef on all of my Instagram posts.
Yeah, not Cheffy.
Yeah, or Cheffy.
Let's cut that out.
I said that once, didn't I? And I was like, I must have had too many.
Yeah, let's not stick. Please don't.
But yeah, so we've got Seb here. Seb's been a client of mine for a good while. He's a top lad, chef from down south. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I want him to tell us a little bit. But he's, I think what we're approaching now, so it's well over a year, isn't it? It's about 13, 14 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've been through a lot, so we're going to go into a bit of detail. And we're doing things a little bit differently today as well. So as we are recording this, it's a Friday evening. Cheffy he's down for the weekend, so we're going out for a few beers and a burger after this. So cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Fitness podcast, drinking a beer, love it. So we'll dive into it, mate. So rather than me taking the limelight, let us know a bit about you, but not the fitness side of things, just a bit about you in general.
Right, okay. As Jake said, obviously I'm a chef. Kind of been a chef my whole life. Started very early. I worked in a little cafe when I was about 14, 15, and it was only because someone kind of called in sick that I got roped into the kitchen.
So you were actually just kind of waiting on?
Yeah, I was just doing the coffee, having an easy life, having like that sort of stuff. And yeah, they kind of roped me straight in on a little side section. And I was never allowed to escape, basically.
I just find that you picked it up straight away, or was that because you'd done cooking at home and maybe that'd been passed on?
Mate.
Really?
Honestly, if my mum sees this, I'm really sorry, but my mum burns everything. She is so bad at cooking. My dad will back that up. I don't know where my skill set came from. I think it's obviously self-taught.
Okay.
But yeah, instantly fell in love with the banter side, all that sort of stuff. I'm a big music fan. We used to listen to music in the kitchen. Obviously out the front, you can't do any of that. It's quite relaxed, all that sort of stuff. So just kind of fell straight into love with the chef side.
So just before you carry on, I used to work in a place in Hale, it's quite a fancy place. There's a Marriott hotel there, and it's like Alderley Edgeway. So a lot of the City players live around there, United players and stuff. And I used to be a barman there. Tips were ridiculous. We used to get Andy Cole come in, honestly, crazy tips. But the chefs, I just found they were fucking mental. They just, I think you've almost got to be a little bit tapped to be a chef.
Yeah, definitely.
And crazy working hours and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, it all kind of falls in together. But I've met some cracking people through being a chef, and I've also met some shockers through being a chef. We're all up and down, but at the end of the day, we're all there for the right reasons. We have a great time. My work is the way I run my kitchen, we're all there to have fun. Obviously, when shit hits the fan, the fan, we have to kind of tools down and get on with it. But if there's no atmosphere, if there's no music on, if there's no laughing, something's going wrong, and no one's going to enjoy being at work.
And that affects the quality of the food, probably.
Definitely.
If you've got a good atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely. But I absolutely love it.
And you've just started at a new place, haven't you?
I have, literally on Monday. A huge site, loads of potential. So I'm really excited on that. Yeah.
And what I'll say is, if anyone's not following you, I know I've shared some stuff in the past, but because
plug it. And
actually, I've got a couple of questions. So I'll put up an Instagram post today saying, basically, if anyone's got any questions for you, send them over.
Okay.
And I had 4 questions and they were all pretty much the same. And they were essentially, how the fuck do you diet when you're making food that looks that good? And I'm not going to spoil it. Just go and follow. So you've got 2 pages, haven't you? The main one is Chef Blundell.
Yeah, that's all the good stuff you want to see. The fitness one is kind of my accountability.
Yeah.
You don't want to see that. You want to see that. But I've put a bit of time and effort into it. I think now chefing's evolved from where it was 20, 30 years ago. The standard chef of drinks, smokes, does everything on the Friday nights is gone. It's all about the social media side, connecting with the customers, and they love that.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like, and I think that do you reckon that then kind of brings business to where you're working? So if someone's following you, because if I was like, for example, if you live closer to me and I was following you and I saw the quality of food you were putting out, I'd be like, right, we'll go in there. Do you know what I mean? So there's got to be an element of that to it as well.
Yeah, I agree. I've had at one of my old sites I used to work, it was a very seasidey location. People would travel down from London or Southampton, stay at a local B&B or hotel, and they'd come specifically for that. Essentially where I'm at now in the New Forest is exactly the same, but it's such a getaway place. So like, I know we've touched upon it as well, but I feel if I can produce the great food and the team can, and I can help a little bit with my social media following and people pick up on stuff, and it adds to the business.
And is it almost like, this is way off topic, like we are going to get into fitness at some point, I promise you, but like, because I'm actually intrigued about this now, thinking about it. Would that be almost like a CV for you as well? Like,
100%.
Because people can see how good you are, and it's like, like, get this fucker.
So like, I hope my bosses aren't like, watching as well, but like, I do use it as a CV, but also like, you can tell I can cook on there. You like the food and all that sort of stuff. It has opened a few doors. And also a few of my old employers have told me to stop doing it.
Really?
Because we get picked up on, and
because of that reason they do.
I'd get Instagram's direct messages.
Really?
Like, your food looks great. If you ever want to come down and have a chat, and you're like, okay, like opens doors, and
that's class. So, and to be fair, like, the food does look unreal. I know I keep saying it, but just go and follow his page and you'll see what I mean.
Cheers for that.
So obviously Chef down south, Chelsea fan, unfortunately, which is actually another reason why he's here this weekend. So we're in Manchester
for the 3 points.
Yeah, bollocks, you wish. So we're in Manchester, and Chelsea and City are playing tomorrow afternoon. So you've actually got tickets.
I have,
you're going with your dad, your stepbrother, and his son Charlie. So there's a little crew of them going to watch a real team play in Manchester City. So now we've got past that bit. So going to the fitness side of things. So obviously we started working together, like I said, about 13, 14 months ago. I want to know like the prior to that.
Yeah, so we've discussed, I obviously had a coach previous, and we had a fantastic time together. Like, I learned so much going through the COVID scenario. So basically, I started falling in love with the gym around 16, 17, trying to fill the tops for town, all that sort of stuff.
Party pump.
Just not... Everyone knows you don't follow any sort of routine. You just kind of get in.
Winging it.
Yeah, lift a few things and don't track your food. So I kind of wasted 4 or 5 years of... But
we all do it. It's like a rite of passage.
Yeah, I loved it. It was only until I kind of...
That's the pure enjoyment phase, isn't it?
Yeah. But every year, I can only say every year I was like, right, I'm training hard. Next summer, I'm going to have abs. Next summer. And it would get to like July and I'd be like... Fine, next summer. It'd be that rut. And it only went to COVID, and we obviously all got locked down, the gym shut, and I kind of put on a hell of a lot of weight. I think I went up.
I think a lot of people did. You know, it was weird on COVID. I think, you know, a lot of people, some people used it as a great reason to lose a lot of weight. And actually some people, and even me to a certain extent, like just because I'd gone from being so active on the gym floor to being like in my house.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I was just gaining weight. I was going on it.
We were obviously locked down, like we couldn't work in the restaurant, in the kitchen. So the only thing that we could kind of do is keep busy. And obviously, like most of us, if you're bored, you eat. So I was walking up to the local co-op, buying 2 tubs of Pringles and some hummus, sinking that every day, and my weight skyrocketed. So I got in touch with the local lads, Jamie. He was fantastic. I kind of approached him and said, look, when the gym's open, I want to start coaching. And he was like, well, why wait? Like, we can do so much more. And I was like, no, come on. Like, when the gym's open, because I was blind to the fact that you can make a hell of a lot of progress.
Not needing the gym.
Yeah, so I was doing resistance band workouts, like tied to the door and all that sort of stuff. And I dropped about 10 kilo through lockdown.
And that's not because, and that's because you tidied up your nutrition, you know, and it's like...
But I probably made more progress in lockdown that I've ever done.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that I was adherent to his program. it was really good. And obviously when the gyms opened, we kind of reached that next level. And yeah, we kind of came together and said, look, what do you want to do now? And I was a bit like, oh, I'm not sure. So we did a photo shoot. Completely out of the water. I was out of the water for what I wanted to do, but it was a goal and it was fantastic. So yeah, I was really kind of thankful like for that experience. And like you've probably had in the past, like I didn't fall out in love with the coaching side, but it just became a bit like, oh, okay, filling the forms every day. I didn't really have anything. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go solo for a bit. Did that. And then obviously like we came into contact with each other, kind of looked at the point where I was at, and I was sitting around 89 kilo again. And I thought, well, I don't want to undo all the hard work that we've kind of done. So yeah, like it's been a great decision so far. So yeah, like that was my kind of journey.
Yeah. And that's, so UK, like you say, came into me, I think it was just before obviously not Christmas, just got the Christmas prior. I think it was November we started in, so it would have been November 2022. And you were going on holiday. Obviously, Croatia was that almost like that. Just listen, you're not just getting in shape for a holiday. Obviously, you're doing it for much more than that. We've spoken about that. You know, and certainly I think when you hit a certain age, like it's beyond the abs. It's more the feelings, the confidence, the way that affects your mood, your productivity, how you're feeling. Everything feels better in life when you're looking after yourself, right? But obviously, we had that as like a little bit of a target, and I think we went from 89 to I think we were down to like 74 kg at one point.
Yeah, we did well. We did well, didn't we?
Yeah. And I think to take your phrase, Shreddy Murphy, was it?
Shreddy Cougar, Shreddy Murphy.
Which I use all the time now, but I robbed that from you. So that's trademarked to the chef. But and we managed a lot during that time. So obviously, I mean, there was Christmas for a starter, but there was plenty of socials. You also got engaged.
I did, yeah.
Congratulations.
Can't miss that out.
RIP as well.
Yeah, we did. We had a hell of a lot of stuff to kind of like balance, but also like look forward to, and it kind of broke down the process. But yeah, that was one thing that was good. And
for anyone listening, obviously that amount of weight, it's a lot of weight. You know, there was ups and downs. I know we actually had a brief discussion about this before, but you know, you enjoy the dieting side of things more than what we're going to talk about soon, which is the gaining side of things. But what did you find worked for you during that part of the process? You know, how, especially kind of with your job, you know, being around food all day, cooking this food. We spoke again about that normality thing. So how did you manage to say no to things? How did you manage to put yourself first?
I think you helped a lot, to be honest. Like your weekly check-ins. I'll take that. I'm very goal driven. I am in my work, my life, all that sort of stuff. Whether it's fitness or not fitness, like if I have an end goal, I want to execute that as well as I can. So like obviously we had those set dates, and I enjoyed so much jumping on the scales in the morning and seeing a difference. Like it became a hobby. It became an obsession. Like I was on the scales at night, like trying to work out, okay, so last night I weighed 87 kilo, today I weigh 86.9.
It's almost like gamifying it, isn't it?
Yeah. So Lucy, my partner, would be like, get off the scales, don't weigh yourself. And I was like, oh, like, but it became like not an unhealthy obsession, but like it became a battle and a game for myself.
And this is where obviously for some people this would probably not be a good thing, because they would get obsessed with it.
Course.
But if you understand the nuances of things, and again, you know, the fact that of course you're going to weigh it different times of the day very differently, etc. And for you in your head, like if you are someone who is that way inclined and you are process driven and you are, you know, you're goal driven, like seeing that stuff and seeing your weight come down, it's just, again, like as I mentioned, it's almost like just racking up points. It is gamifying the whole experience.
Like you start at a position, and every day, like everyone says, don't they, small wins, small little wins in time make big wins, all that sort of stuff. And that's essentially what I do. I thrive off the small wins. And like obviously at the moment we're in a weight loss phase, and we're starting to see that again. And what I said to you earlier, that process for me is so much more enjoyable than gaining.
We'll go into more detail on that for sure, because I think that's a big thing, and it's something that I've been talking to a lot of my other clients about. So even just this podcast is so well timed for other people to hear your experience on this. But yeah, so once we got you lean, we obviously transitioned into a gaining phase. So you went to Croatia in end of June?
Yeah, we had a friend's wedding.
Yeah,
really good. I think we left. So we actually had 2 weddings back to back for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and it was your birthday as well.
Yeah, and my birthday. Couldn't forget that. So yeah, we had a lot of social stuff in between, like in a small space of time. But like we enjoyed it, didn't we? Like the fact that we put in all that groundwork was so good.
Yeah.
And yeah, we had a great 2 weeks.
And the thing is, this is so for again, what I'll say to a lot of people is the initial goal for most people, I would say, not everybody, for most people, is getting you lean to a point. We've almost got like a blank canvas then. So it's like, we got you to a point where we're nice and lean, you look great. I'm actually going to share your pictures again tomorrow on the social media just because it worked well with this weekend. But, I think from that point, obviously you said to me, listen, I think you actually said it to me rather than me said it to you. You said, I'd like to try a photo shoot next year. So you were like, let's set a goal. So I was like, okay, wicked. So literally, and for anybody who's listening, this is the mindset which I would wish everybody would take, because you were like, a year's time, I'll do a photo shoot. And you're understanding how long it's going to take for you to get to that next level. Definitely. So we mapped out the next part. And the next part was obviously to build some muscle tissue and gain some size. Now, gaining muscle, for me personally, I was like quite a chubby-ish child when I was young, and I actually struggled to lose fat. One of the reasons I suppose I feel like I'm good at what I do now is because I was that kid, and I was even going into my early 20s and stuff. Like I struggled to keep weight off, and I tried everything, despite being a coach, and I was PTing on the gym floor since I was 17. Right. Yeah. So I've always been conscious of that, and when I say I've tried and failed everything, I mean everything, which is why I went and researched and learned and dug my head into science so I could understand the ins and outs of everything that was going on from fat loss perspective. So whenever I wanted to gain muscle, certainly for my early years, the second I would start to lose definition, the second I would start to see my abs disappear, anything like that, I just couldn't do it. Right. So I had almost like a phobia of gaining fat, right? Yeah. Just because, again, I was a chubby kid and things. Yeah. And I hated the whole process of gaining fat, which is, unfortunately, it is an absolute necessity as a byproduct of gaining muscle.
We've had these check-ins, haven't we?
But we spoke about it every week pretty much for months and months. And it's really important, because I think people don't realise that it is hard. And, especially when you've just lost all that body fat and then you're going through that cycle of gaining muscle.
I think as well, if anyone's kind of listening in the same position, you just have to put your trust in your coach. It is scary, and we've built up a good relationship over the last 12 months or so. But it is I'm trusting you to get me through that process. At the same time, at the end of the process, when we do have the photo shoot, you could tap me on the shoulder and go, I told you. Yeah. At least we have the end goal. Yeah. Like we said, the gaining phase is scary because you do all that hard work and then you feel like you're undoing it. But if you do it properly, you're not undoing it.
Yeah. And that's what I said to you today earlier. I was I actually pulled up your pictures because you're currently, I think this was a low weigh-in today, about 87. But I pulled up your most recent pictures, which were about 2 weeks ago. So you were kind of 88, 89 kg. Yeah. And I compared them to when you first came to me. Yeah. And it's a different person. You might not see it, but it's a different person. The way you're carrying your weight is very different to the way you were carrying your weight when you first came in. When you first came, there was a lot more weight around your midsection. So now it's more distributed, but we can see that you're gaining size. Yeah. And this is one of the things that I wish I had a coach for earlier on, because you think emotionally, and even me now, I still think emotionally. And when I look in the mirror and I don't see what I want to see, you get stressed out, right? And that's when you go, fuck this, I'm not doing it anymore. Whereas actually you've got someone to just, a sounding board almost, to be like, listen, it's fine, part of the process, just relax, woosah, we're all good, keep on pushing on. But yeah, I mean, mentally, did you think you struggled with the gaining side of things a lot more than you thought you were going to?
I don't know. I don't think I struggled as much as other people would, just because with my previous coach, we did a gaining phase as well.
So you kind of
I've kind of gone through it 2-3 times now. So I know what to expect, but also as any individual would, you get the emotions with it. I think it's trying to tailor yourself. You kind of need to brief yourself before you go into that gaining phase to go, I am going to feel like this on some days. I am going to feel like I'm sloppy on some days. I'm not comfortable in the gym anymore. Like, I know that when I was lean, I would pick any t-shirt for the gym. Now I'm like, oh no, that's a bit tight, that gym shop.
Get the oversized one.
Yeah, and we've had this conversation, big hoodie on, all that sort of stuff, because you're not going to feel your best.
Yeah.
But in 6 months' time, when you've dropped all that body fat off, you're going to be picking your vests and your stringers and all that. Like, exactly. You're going to. So.
And I think it's one of those as well. Like when you're losing body fat, you glamorize the idea of gaining because you're eating lower calories. You're like, yes, can't eat me more food and gain muscle.
Well, the food challenges.
Yeah, exactly. And then like when you're gaining, you glamorize dieting again because you're looking forward to getting back to that kind of condition.
It's just a circle, isn't it?
It is. And obviously at some point you'll probably get to a stage where, and maybe this is where we will kind of leave you, and that would be for me as a coach. I'd be like, right, job done properly.
Yeah.
But I suppose the ultimate goal is to get you to a point where you look great, you feel great, and actually we start maintaining at a point where actually you can just kind of live life a bit, feel great, and you're never more than 3, 4, 5 weeks away from being in the kind of condition you want to be in. And if you can, because for me maintenance, we've spoken about gaining, but maintenance is probably the hardest one out of all of them. Either way, that's kind of off topic. But you mentioned, obviously you enjoyed the dieting side of things more, and that's just simply because we were seeing changes every single week, right?
Of course. Yeah, definitely. Like the weekly check-ins, I go back to some of them now, and like when I send you my photos now, you go through them and you're like, oh, what's that? Who's that? Who's those shoulders? Who is that? Like, and you're just like, oh, okay. Like, and then you don't mean to, but you go on them and it kind of just goes, oh, that is what's under there. Like, I see it as a positive. Like in a few months' time, you're gonna look like that. Like, so don't worry, just trust the process.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And whilst you are gaining size, and obviously, there is that mental battle with gaining a little bit of body fat, not too much. Like, listen, when I say gaining body fat, you're not going to look at the guy like he's not exactly fat, is he? He's in pretty decent nick. So when I say gaining body fat, the idea, if you do it properly, which is what we've done, is you minimize that as much as possible and you're adding muscle tissue, right? And one of the best things about gaining muscle is training, right? Because you're eating more food, therefore you've got more energy. Definitely. Have you found that side of things?
I've loved it. Like going over the whole process of a gaining phase done properly, like not sloppily, and you
a dirty bulk.
Yeah, dirty bulk, and you use those extra calories so like well, and like my performance in the gym has probably been the best it has. Like the pumps have been great and all that sort of stuff, but the weight moved has been so much better. The connection, all that sort of stuff that essentially will improve you. But yeah, just the whole aspect of training has been fantastic. Like I know we touched on the gym that I train at. It's good. It's got a decent kit, all that sort of stuff. The atmosphere could be a bit better, but I always have my headphones in, so it's fine. But yeah, like you just surround yourself with a good environment, good equipment, like trust the program. Also, like I feel it's really important that I express to you, like I want this machine, and I know I went around and took photos of the gym and what stuff. This is my favorite machine, and you're not resenting any exercise in your program. Okay, maybe the Bulgarian squats and all that sort of stuff, but no one likes that. But if you enjoy your sessions, you're going to make the most out of it.
Yeah, well, of course you are. And that, like I say, that's what I was hoping you'd say, because although, like I say, we're seeing the physical side of things can be a bit challenging at times. Actually, kind of when you go to the gym and you, like you say, you're pushing big numbers and you're pushing bigger numbers in what you have done for a long time, potentially ever. And it feels good and your recovery's great and you're sleeping better. So although, you always kind of think back, I just want to get lean again. Actually, when you're getting really lean, training does go to shit a little bit towards the back end, especially when you're getting super lean, like you're not recovering, that kind of pump you get in the gym pretty much goes.
I know, I remember it's just when you get to those final few weeks, especially when I was in Croatia, it was a chore to get to the gym. You don't want to go. You don't want to get on that treadmill. You don't want to do those exercises.
Yeah, your cardio is there. I remember us messaging, like, you were sending me like videos on the stepper and stuff. And I think because I was dieting at the same time, I was like, me too, mate.
I was swearing at you though. But yeah, just the whole process, mate, of all that sort of stuff. It just, you don't resent it, but like, that is where you learn about yourself. The final few weeks, or say last month of you nearly being close to where you want to be, it's hard. And that it's like you guys did your Murph thing. It's a gut tester, like, and all that sort of stuff. Like, my partner came with me in the last couple of like weeks of obviously training, and she was kind of the one pushing me out of bed, going, you need to get in the gym because you're so close. Like, I've listened to you like for the last 6-7 months go on about how hungry you are, X and Y. You're going to do it. Like, get to the gym. So yeah, it's just about enjoying it, and also having the people around you that will support you.
And it is those last couple of weeks. Like, when I've done photo shoot preps in the past, like, you can get to a certain point fairly comfortably. Like, the first, you know, for you now, you're going to get down fairly quickly, fairly comfortably. Then we're going to hit a point where you're like, fuck. Like, this is the hard
Go on the
bit.
Stairmaster then, shall I?
But no, it's all part of it. And with that, again, not even blowing my own trumpet, because I'm certainly not meaning to do that, but that's when the accountability comes in. Because when shit does get tough, when shit does hit the fan, that's when you're like, okay, if I don't do it, I'm letting so-and-so down, or, you know, I've got to check in and explain why I didn't go to the gym on that day. You know, and there's little things like that which just get you over the line with this stuff. Okay, so what have you enjoyed the most about the coaching process?
What have I enjoyed?
Be nice now, I'm paying
you. To be honest, mate, just like, I think everyone will agree, like, there's so many coaches out there. And I think the thing with myself and you is, like, we connect. Like, I know it's like we spoke about earlier, like, today's the first time we've met, but we actually feel like we've met before. We have that kind of like, bromance. But like, you're such a cool guy, and like, you get it.
This is what I'm paying you for.
You get it, and you, whether it be about football, and like, I know you have female clients and stuff, they'll say the same thing. You're relatable. You do the work yourself. Like, you're not just a coach who will go, right, this is the program. We see it firsthand from you. It's like myself in my kitchen. I'll be the first one to clean. I'll be the first one to take the bins out. I'll be the first one to wash up, X and Y. Like, you lead from the front. And I just feel like I've enjoyed, it's easy to say, but the whole process, like, I've never felt like I've had a bad check-in from you. I've never felt like you've been short. You always go into detail. The programs are fantastic. The sheets that you supply are great, and they're easy. Like, it's never been a chore for myself to fill it all out and all that sort of stuff. Yes, I've missed a few check-in photos. That was because I didn't feel great about where I was. But like, I enjoy the whole process with you. Like, it's good. It's just been great.
That's kind of nail on the head, really, because and I say this I've had people come to me, and I've not even been a dick when I've said this. I'm like, listen, I don't think you're the right person for me, because the thing is, to get a good result, whatever that result might be, like for you it's physique, for other people it might be a relationship with food, whatever it might be, you have to connect with that coach on a one-to-one basis.
Yeah, definitely. Because
otherwise you're not going to be able to open up to them and stuff in your check-ins, and like, our check-ins sometimes we just have a laugh about football, about life, about, again, for the last kind of couple of weeks we've been talking about Manchester, like going for food and days, like organising stuff, and it's like, it has to be, you have to almost have that relationship with someone where you can be like, oh mate, I've had a bad week, and like go into it, or I'm in a bad place mentally, and you have to be able to open up, and if you've got that relationship, then generally speaking, you'll probably get a good result out of it. So
I agree.
Glad that you've enjoyed it, mate. I'll give you 10 later.
Cheers, man.
So, what is next then? So we're currently dieting again.
We are, yeah. We've got the shoot on my birthday, haven't we?
We do, mate.
So, yeah,
we do.
I think that is the next step.
Yes, we've got the photo shoot on the 6th of July.
We have, yeah.
Yeah, which is Chef's birthday. So we're in Nottingham for that, which will be good. And
nearly in my birthday suit.
Yeah. After a few days. Actually, no, you probably.
I'm only joking, Luce. Yeah.
But no, yeah. I mean, listen. Obviously, we've got a dieting phase to get through now. Because this is probably. I mean, you've done a couple of diets now, so you know you're well accustomed to what's coming. So you're probably in a very good position. That say I was a complete rookie and I wanted to start losing some body fat. What are the 3 top tips that you've learned along the way that you would give to someone?
I feel like the top 3 tips would be your macros are so important, like to stick to those macros. Like you won't see as half the amount of results you would if you don't stick to your macros. Like we've spoke about it as well. And
well, something you're really good at, and like probably one of my best, to be honest, if not my best, is you organise yourself.
Yeah.
Like, and you see it on
your meal structure. Yeah, exactly. Obviously your macros and your meal structure is similar.
Yeah.
But
I know you hit your macros religiously down to the fact that you're organised, because you've probably got more reason to go off track with your macros than anyone I know to a certain extent.
Yeah, you say that as well, but I'm probably in the best position at work to do those meals.
True.
Say you have a client who's in an office who hasn't got time in the morning to prep their meals.
Yeah.
But if they're prepped, they've got more time to enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by luxurious food. Like I've had so many people say, obviously, how are you in a good shape because you're always around food? Well, it's the accountability side, but also like I bring my macros, my meals are already weighed up, all that sort of stuff. But also at the same time, like it is very hard because if you eat out all the time, it's overindulgent food. I'm surrounded by that every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think macros are the number 1. Number 2, probably for weight loss, get your steps in.
Yeah.
Like number 3 would be obviously your training and sort of stuff. So I'll put your training second. But yeah, your training and your steps. Like if you don't get your macros right, you don't get your training right, you don't get your steps in.
Basically, if you're winging it.
Yeah. You're not gonna get any results or as many results as you could get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those 3.
Yeah, steps are huge. I mean, listen, you do them with your eyes shut, like, because again, you obviously like 16,000 most days, like something like that.
Yeah, average. This new site, it will be high 20s, and then summer, I don't want to think about it.
We'll probably have to increase your calories accordingly. But
fair. But yeah.
Listen, one of the things I wanted to touch on, I suppose, was because we mentioned your environment. Obviously, you're working and you spend a hell of a lot of time there. I mean, what you mentioned before, you're working 48 hours a week at the moment, you know?
Yeah.
So you're spending a hell of a lot of time there. Obviously, you know, the chef culture, I've been around, like I say, when I was a student, I used to be a barman. Like, I understand how the chef culture can be. And not just the chef culture, just the hospitality, I suppose. How do you find them? Because you must look like a bit of an outlier by, you know, being the person who has the protein shake, person who finishes work and doesn't. Because we used to finish work and it was the norm for us all to sit outside then and have 6, 7, 8 beers. Like every single night. You know, and it can be quite, you can get into some unhealthy habits. So you must be the odd one out almost to a certain extent.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. I remember when I first started with the coach side, and I'd bring my Tupperware in of meals and my protein and porridge and X and Y, and like you get laughed at. Like, and it's not a nice place to be in because the hospitality environment can be brutal.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, like I can be brutal. Like, but the banter side, but also at the same time, you do feel like an outsider.
Yeah.
The culture of hospitality and the stigma of a chef, like especially like 10, 15 years ago, they smoked, they drank, they were severely overweight. They probably had anger issues from all those sides.
I was thinking Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, basically. But I think times have changed.
Yeah.
Like you have a lot of people on social media. There's a great charity at the moment called Burnt Chef Project. They're a huge advocate of mental health in the chefing industry and hospitality industry. they've touched on a hell of a lot of stuff now, and even fitness. They've touched on that, and yeah. So I was going in to say a standard day at work with my meals and X and Y, and no one understood why. Like they would be slamming back chips on the pass, or like your mac and cheeses and X and Y, and to be honest, some of them didn't look in that bad a nick, like semi all right shape and all that sort of stuff, but the longevity of that, like the health benefits and all that sort of side, like if I eat well, my weight's good, I don't feel stressed. Yeah, like that's another huge
said that
issue.
Didn't we? Like that's, you know, we said it at the start even, but when you're looking after yourself, everything else improves as a byproduct.
Sleep, your recovery, everything. Like,
your relationships, your productivity. Like
it's not just the gym. Yeah. Like,
and I think that's where people sometimes, you know, even, and my page is probably one of those places where you might think that like it's all about the transformation. It's not, and I try and portray that as much as you can do. Yeah. But it's difficult, like, because unfortunately transformations sell.
Well, don't get me wrong. So on the flip side, if I put up healthy meals all the time, my Instagram would probably be dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Like no one would care. Like all that sort of stuff.
They want to see what you're making. Yeah, of course.
I get messages all the time saying, "How did that taste?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like, ask the other chefs because they've absolutely smashed it back. But I personally don't know. Like I'm cooking this food, but at the same time I'm eating out of a Tupperware box. So yeah, that's the side that people don't see.
Yeah, and that's a big thing though. I think not just for, obviously it's a massive thing within your industry, like huge, because like I say, I've seen a bit of behind the scenes myself. But for anyone like in an office or whatever, it's just, I think, you know, we've done an episode on this with Jake, and it's like kind of going against the norm and like trying to just, because the norm nowadays, unfortunately, is to get an Uber Eats and eat shit. And it is to just fucking
like a standard thing. Like everyone knows, like Tuesdays, Domino's. 2 for Tuesdays, or
Fat Fridays and all this.
Fish Fridays, or Sunday I'm hungover. Just Eat, McDonald's, all that sort of stuff. So like, but it's so accessible. Yeah, like you can download an app, and they're messaging you all the time. And
it's mental.
You don't even have to do anything now. You just have to do a few things.
It's ever been easier to be out of shape because you don't even have, like, say, you don't have to move. Like within 10 minutes, you can have a takeaway at your door.
Yeah, exactly.
Mental. But and listen, like at the same time, obviously we're preaching about kind of getting in shape and going against the norm and things, but it's also not like we completely cut it all out, right?
No, exactly.
Been plenty of occasions where you've been social whilst you've been coaching, and it's like, you know, I think it's important for people to understand that there is balance to this. You know, it's not like we just don't, just have a shit.
You'll burn out otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
Say if you ate your lowest calories all the time, you'd get to a point you'd be miserable.
You'd hate
your friends would resent you because you're not going into any social side. Your partner, your family. Oh, what do you mean you're not coming to the birthday? Yeah. Like, oh, you've got a gym. Like, you have to be flexible.
Of course you do. And that's why as well, and this is something that I mentioned, you know, I love about your approach is you're in it for the long term because you know that's life.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, you know, it's never going to be quote unquote optimal. So you just have to kind of like, and for I'm a big advocate of having balance. Like if you follow me on social media, you'll know that. Like I go out and have a beer most weekends. I'll be having a beer tonight with you. Having a beer tomorrow.
You did with the Champions League, didn't you?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
you're out most nights.
Yeah, City needs to be stopped. So but no, it's a big thing, and I think it's important for people to understand that although you have been very regimented where you've needed to be, you've also let loose where you've
needed to definitely,
well, which is important because you can't just live like that as well.
No.
Okay, so I'm going to finish it off by, this is where you get your extra $5 if you answer this one properly, but what would you say to someone who is thinking about getting a coach?
The easy answer for me is just to do it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I've had yourself and another coach, and I feel I've made the most improvements or progress with that guidance. I just feel like you're there, like when I need you, all that sort of stuff. You can do it on your own, don't get me wrong. And people have tried to do it on their own. Some people don't ever need a coach. Like they can do it themselves, X and Y. But the majority of the people will need it. Like I remember the first time I got into shape, I was 90 plus kilo. I was like, okay, lose 5 kilo, I'll be pilled. I'll be shredded. And you're just like, you guys are so vital. And like I think it is a jump that you have to take. And like obviously like it depends on your financial situation and all that sort of stuff. But it's going to sound really bad now, but I'd highly recommend online coach than PT.
Yeah.
Like, obviously it's good to have PT sessions and stuff, and like you can improve, but once you know the basics, there's not a lot else to learn. However, there's so much to learn
when it comes to nutrition,
online coaching,
mindset,
nutrition, programming, check-ins, all that sort of stuff. Like, I think you're scraping the top of the barrel with your PTs, but there's so much more that you can give as an online coach.
Look at that for a soundbite. That is like, Joe, edit that. Right? That's what we need. No, but it's true. And I used to be a PT. So what kind of sent me online, you know, and the difference in results was huge, because ultimately I could see someone 3 times a week. I had no idea what got to between that.
Well, no.
You know, and so that's the whole point. So like I could work them into the ground. Again, that's kind of pointless, because there's no point in, and listen, I see it in my gym now. Like, I go to the gym and see PTs. Someone's paid them for an hour. Yeah. They've done everything they need to do within 45 minutes. So what do they do the extra 15 minutes? Just fucking kill burpees, jump on the treadmill, do some sprint.
To be honest, the same amount of PT sessions per week, add that up for the month.
It's way more expensive.
It's way more than
way more expensive.
And say you're in the gym say you're in the gym 5 hours a week. It's the other hours in the week.
There's 160 hours in a week, so it'd be 163 hours, and they're the ones that matter the most.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So and that was the game changer for my clients, was when we actually said, listen, I'm going to give you a program. This is what you're going to do in the gym without me. But actually, what I'm going to do is look after what happens outside of the gym, and let's see what happens. Yeah. And sure enough.
But you're very good as well. Like, I'll send you some videos for like form check-ins and all that sort of stuff.
Of course.
And you'll fire them straight back. So you can get that sort of side.
100%. And I do think, and listen, this isn't me shitting on PTs, because I think if you're brand new to the gym, I mean, having a PT to learn form and learn technique initially is great. But then if you're wanting to see serious progress after that, that's when other stuff comes into
it depends what you want. If you want to get beasted of doing burpees, PT. Yeah. If you want to make some serious gains, online coach.
Yeah, you can have your fiver for that.
Cheers, mate.
But no, that pretty much brings us to an end, mate. So thank you very much, because
it's been a pleasure.
Like, the chef has made a serious effort to come. I was going to say down, but he's come up for this. Obviously he's here to see a bit of football as well. So we won't give him too much credit, but no, I genuinely appreciate it, mate. Thank you for coming on, and you've smashed it so far. I mean, we're kind of halfway through. And I'm seriously excited to see where we get you to by the summertime, mate. So cheers.
Cheers for that.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers.